Let's do this.
There's children around. I shouldn't be swearing.
Whatever. Children hear swearing all the time.
They do, but I don't want to be blamed for it.
You don't swear at them, maybe. Maybe don't swear at them.
Well, that's maybe what I'm doing wrong then.
Or, I don't know, like screen share porn or whatever like that. I wouldn't recommend that either.
I don't know why people do that. I wouldn't do that on a work computer anyway.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. Hello and welcome.
Why do you do that? You always, before I can react, then it mixes up the intro.
I think that's the bit. That is the joke at this point.
Fine.
That's what we're trying to do.
Why
does my lighting look shit? Why do I look like a decrepit old corpse? Hello and welcome to Incomplete Geeks. This gay geek podcast. We'll be trying to talk about geeky things. We're trying, but sometimes we don't know what we're talking about because our knowledge is
incomplete. Yes, we're already lost.
Lost. I was like, oh, can I pull like a joke about a Dick of Doom coming out? But I don't. We're not in this place.
I've not seen that before. I've not seen that.
A Dick of Dick of Death.
I've not seen that porn.
Oh, I have. I'll share it with you later. So,
send me a link.
Thank you for joining this emergency episode of Incomplete Geeks.
Why do we need an emergency episode, Nicholas?
Well, I had it in the diaries like, maybe we should do like a little social post in case there's any interesting news that comes out of San Diego Comic-Con, because there hasn't been for the last few years. They didn't go last year. Like the Marvel didn't go last year. And the year before. So I was like, nah, I'll keep an eye on it. Fuck me up the ass.
I blame the pandemic. We're out of it now.
With a rod. What is the rod from the Negative Zone?
Is it the cosmic rod?
Yeah, fuck me up the ass with a cosmic rod.
There we go.
That should be the title of the episode. What the hell is Marvel doing? They have announced lots of things, most of which we do not give a shit about. Does anybody give a shit about like the panel for Captain America? No one gives a shit. Because they've changed the name of one. No, I didn't give a shit anyway. They've announced the name of the next Avengers film, which was originally Kang Dynasty, so they've had to pivot, and now it's going to be Doomsday.
Yep.
Which is great.
And
they announced who will be playing Dr. Doom in the MCU.
Nicholas, let's do it this way. Let's pretend that I've not seen anything, and pretend that I am like some of, maybe most of our listeners, and don't know any of these announcements. So tell me, who is going to be the next? It been announced?
It's been announced that none of Dr. Doom, Dr. Victor Von Doom,
classic villain,
of the Eastern European Romani Gypsy heritage. Sorry, Gypsy's not a right word for it, but that's how it's announced. Heritage will be played by
somebody I know. Is there someone famous?
Robert Downey Jr.
What?
I gotta admit, the reveal was fun. It was where he walks out. There's a whole crowd of Dooms in their cloaks and their masks. He walks out to the front and takes it off, and it's RDJ. And it's fun, and it's publicity, and we're all talking about it, and it'll get bums in seats. But what, Jonathan, are they thinking? What are they? Tell me what they're thinking, because I don't know.
They're thinking it's going to be a mix of nostalgia and bankable assets. So they know that they have a good actor in this person. They know that he's done good work. He's brought in a lot of bums on seats, like you said. And also people are sort of craving that sort of, let's get back to some sort of sense of normality, whatever you call that, like something that we know works, something that we are familiar with, and we know it's not going to suck.
This feels very Make America Great Again.
I wouldn't go that far.
Because they brought him back, and they brought back the Russo brothers to do both films. And all of them were fantastic.
Yeah.
were fantastic. It feels complete lack of faith in their ability to do anything new.
Okay, I can see that, but I might
Do
push
you
back
see
on
this
that
as a positive?
slightly. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a negative though, because basically like I said, they know that this combination of people works, and in spite of them trying to branch out and go in new directions, give new sort of directorial directions, I suppose, artistic direction. It's not always worked, and so I think studios do it a lot when they see that what they're doing hasn't really been working like they wanted it to. Not everything's been a great success. They're going to pull back a little bit and go back to what they know works. And so we'll get one, maybe two films with the Russo brothers, then they're going to start experimenting again, and they're going to see what works and stick with what works. I don't
How?
think it's a bad thing.
I 100% think it's a bad thing. I
Okay.
think this is
Okay.
I can't see how this can be a good thing. Because if you're saying that like they experimented, it didn't work, so they went back to what they know, what on earth means that they'll get experimentation right the next time? Is this it?
Because
Is
there won't be
this
an
it? We
option. They'll
just
have to. They'll have to do something. They can't have these three
that's
the
what we
rest of the universe.
that's what we said about after Endgame. We said they have to experiment. They have to do something
Yeah.
completely different, and they sucked at that. And so they're giving us the same thing again. Is this it? Is this it? It's Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. Is that it? We'll just go back 20 years and do the same thing over and over again. It's so bonkers.
I don't think we'll see Hugh again.
And to have his Doctor Doom is like, I would say probably the most famous Marvel villain, like one of the most famous iconic Marvel villains.
He's out
they've
there.
been saying
Yeah,
for
he's out
ages
there a lot, yeah.
because he's so difficult to cast, obviously, because they've done a horrible job both times picking some boring ass American white dude to do it. And just like, did you read the comics? Do you
think
look
the
at, like,
ethnicity is a crucial thing to get right?
crucial? It's even more crucial than Wanda, and Wanda was so crucial, and they chose a white California girl for that, whom I love, but his whole point.
But she has an accent, so that's okay, right?
Well, of course, it's a fake Eastern European accent, therefore
yeah.
it's fine. The whole dichotomy between kind of like Reed and Victor is like they're both tech geniuses, but Victor's willing to go to sorcery, and he's like got this horrible upbringing where his his mother died, and his like first invention that burned his face was him trying to get her soul from heaven and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's wiggly woo out there. Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. Is he going to be Tony Stark? Here's the question. Is he going to be Tony Stark Doom? Or is Robert Downey Jr. just playing Victor Von Doom?
I don't know. That would be awkward if he tried that.
Horrible.
I think that what little I know of the character is he does share a lot of the sort of the arrogance,
100%. Massive.
The technological genius of Stark, and basically if they sort of focus on those things, it might work. I don't know enough about the character to know what they would have to make different from Tony to be able to make it a different character. Wasn't there like a run where he was like Tony becomes Doctor Doom? Is that a thing?
There's a couple of instances where there's some crossover.
It's a multiverse thing, then, isn't it?
I've been double checking, but there's also a bit like after the Secret Wars thing where for some reason Doom is a good guy because Doom is. I'm so trying to find a positive in this. I just cannot.
I can tell.
Because the existence, even if he's a variant, if it's a version of Tony where he goes mystical and becomes Doctor Doom, it means that Victor Von Doom can never exist in the MCU.
Why not?
You can't have RDJ playing him in these two huge Russo brothers films and be like, oh, but the real one is this random Eastern European actor that you don't know, and everyone will embrace him. It will never happen. So you have whether they've tried to cast and they're like, everyone no one's going to do this. Let's just make it RDJ and kill this character off. Let's have him big and be dramatic and then never do it. But I'm losing my mind here.
I think if they did that, it would play into the idea that he's only there for like to get bums in seats. And I think that that would be, like you said, that would not be a really smart thing. Then it would feel like a gimmick. If it was, he's this character, he sticks around for like 4 or 5 films doing ridiculous stuff. No. That could, I think that could work, but it would be a big ask for RDJ in the first place.
Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. He epitomizes him. He's the most perfect casting of a comic book character I think I've ever seen. And Victor Von Doom is nothing like that character. He is nothing like that privileged, rich, arrogant, white American man. He is everything opposite apart from man. You can't put him in that.
Yeah.
In the same universe, what are we going to have Tom Holland show up and be like, who's this guy? There is no way it can just be Doom. It has to be
a variant.
I'm losing my mind here. I'm so angry.
Yeah, it might be. I think they have to be careful though, because obviously it shouldn't feel like a gimmick. But there's nothing wrong with them getting a different actor to play it if this character lasts longer in other films or other franchises. We've already got 2 people in the MCU playing Reed. So it's not like it's unknown.
That's so not the same though, is it? Robert Downey Jr. was the face of Marvel.
Sure.
Since 2008 to Endgame. It's not the same as a cameo by John Krasinski and Pedro, who hasn't even started yet. It cannot be him. If they do it as not a gimmick, but as a twist, like it could be be a red herring. This all could be just.
That'd be awful if it did that.
But I don't know. I don't know. Agatha was a red. I'm trying to think. I don't. No, it is keeping us guessing. Mm-hmm. It is keeping us talking about it.
We're talking about it, yeah. We're interested again.
I just don't know how they can spin this, because he's got to be in both. But it also, even if he is a variant, even if it is a twist, it just feels sad. I'm so disappointed in the MCU for not being able to do anything other than... Because I thought they were the best fucking thing in the world, but it turns out they can only do Wolverine, Iron Man, and Captain America. That's literally all they can do, and that's what they keep bringing it back. I'm sure Chris Evans is going to come back now. That's all they can do, and when they try, or it's all that the public wants from them, a bit of both. Whenever they try to do something different,
it's a funny line to have to cross, because obviously these straight white men characters, they've been around since the beginning, but now that we're in a more diverse society, we want difference, but we also want the stableness of what we know what works. It's tough. It's a tough sort of line to cross, and
just people don't want the same thing. Well, I don't think people want the same thing again. But then again, what am I talking about? Like Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine's making huge amounts of money.
Yeah.
But I just don't care. I'm just not interested.
So I think what it sounds like is like we're like, okay, but we want more. Like I get it, but we want something more, something different, something.
It's so disappointing that it's so uncreative. What's the opposite of creative?
That works. Yep.
Unimaginative. I just how can we get excited for years and years and years of movies? And the Fantastic Four, is it another fucking origin one? It is. I'm like, oh my god.
Probably, yeah.
Because they showed a clip, which I haven't watched properly, but they did a clip of the trailer. So there'll be a trailer out in a few days.
Right.
And it's them getting suited up and going to space. It's like, I can't do this again, guys. I can't do this again. And why would you replicate that? Because those bombed. What's wrong with you? I don't know. I'm so losing faith. Meanwhile, DC over here is pumping out alternative versions of their comics. They've got new animation style set up that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is DC going to be better than Marvel? Because they're coming from a place of...
I think it's a hot take.
Well, it could be, because DC is coming from a place of like everything else hasn't worked. Let's get
Yeah.
creative. And it's forcing them, and they've got a very creative person at the helm to be like, we've got amazing characters. Let's do interesting shit with it rather than replicating the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas Marvel's got to that point where when they try stuff, it's less, because obviously it's going to be less, and then people panic and like, oh shit, get rid of it. So they just,
Yeah, they go back to that norm.
capitalism. Basically, it's capitalism's fault. I blame capitalism.
That's okay with me if we blame that. I still am yet to sort of. I'm not convinced either way. I'm like, okay, interesting twist. Let's see what we do with it. Because the twist by itself, I get it, but I also get why it's, like you said, it's a bit sort of like, why are we going back to this? It's
so
nostalgia. It's fun. He needs another paycheck. He's like, okay, I've got my another Oscar nomination. Been there, done that. Let's go back to making money. So it's like, sure.
It's not nostalgia when it was only a few years old. Like, it's just stuck in the past. It's not moving on, and it's pandering to an audience that doesn't want to try anything. It's not. I don't know. I'm trying to see any kind of good twist on this, because if it does do well, that's not a positive, because it just means we have the same stuff over and over and over again. I don't want that. I want the fucking X-Men.
Considering that, like, the whole sort of franchise, whole universe, kind of not quite ground to a halt, but pretty darn close, because they were like, none of this is working. Also, pandemic, also writer strike, etc. Like, we need to slow down and try a different tactic. What's the middle ground? What's the middle ground of actually sort of doing good stuff at a decent pace, not too much, not expecting too much of your viewers? Are they going to go back to TV? Are they going to focus on that? Are they going to be able to do, remember, like the one shots, whatever, that you don't have to sort of, I don't know what the answer is, but they have to find that middle ground of where they can still pump out the stuff that they know is going to work, give them money, so they can fund the lesser known stuff that people would, like, hardcore fans would still want to see, and bring in that sort of difference, that variant, the variety,
Interesting,
the diversity.
So good. If this is a split between, like, right, we're going to make this because it will make lots of money, but also
it's bankable,
we're going to make these smaller budget. I think I said this like ages ago when we were talking about Echo and the Spotlight ones.
Yes, Spotlight. That's
Here
what
is
I was thinking of. Yeah.
If they make these smaller, lower budget projects, whether it's a little movie, a mini series, anything like that, anything they want to do, but they like rack down the budget and rack down the expectations. Because if you have tentpole things like Wolverine and Iron Man bringing in money, you're like, right, let's. Because again, that's what they did in the comics. You had X-Men and Spider-Man making tons of money, and then they were like, here's this one-shot stuff and that sort of stuff as a way to test out new characters and things, and let it become, if that pays with that exploration of these characters and this like little indie kind of scene, where people can build a fan following, where they like make something, and it's like, oh, it turns out this C-list character everybody really relates to because the world, something like that, and
then they can bring them into the main story.
And when they become like cult, fan favorites, and they're like, guess what? Here they're in a film, and everyone will be like, That is that's the only way I can see a positive. If they're like, right, we're going to do these massive, stupid things, which will still be fun.
Yeah.
But they're not original or interesting. But they'll make money because the whole world will see them. Which I don't know how much longer people will, but cool, whatever. They keep seeing Fast and the Furious. They keep seeing the Fast and the Furious films, so shut me up.
Well, then again, because that's another example of a franchise that is doing the same thing because it's stable, it works. It's all about family.
Yeah.
We've heard it before. Like, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Give the people what they want, not what I want.
Yeah, exactly. If we look back to shows like She-Hulk or Kamala Khan, those could have easily been one-shots without the necessity of sort of saying you have to see this in order to follow along with the main storyline of the universe.
To break away from that the expectation that this is the next big thing, everybody, you're going to love this, is amazing, and we've spent $700 million making this, it's the best thing ever. And also that expectation that like you don't have to have seen it. Like we're at this point where people we've fallen off and they haven't watched the shows, so it's just little, like with a comic book, you can pick it up, and if you want to know more previously on, well, you can see. That's the only thing I can think. But still,
if you want to know more, good. We've got 6 episodes. We can explore this character.
Tons more.
We'll see. I mean, so the big ones that are coming up, we've got the next one is going to be the Captain America one, right? That's the next film, which I know you're kind of about. I'll watch it. But then there's not much. They haven't. What else did they announce? Anything of interest? Do you want to talk about anything else that they've announced in terms of like upcoming films, TV shows, what they got planned? Is there anything worth talking about? Because
I don't think I have the strength.
Pretend that I haven't seen it. Let's pretend.
Oh,
for our listeners. Because if there's something that is a bit sort of more indie, I don't know. When is Fantastic Four slated to come out now?
I thought that was next year. Because if they've got a trailer and everything.
Well, they've just got a trailer, haven't they?
Yeah. Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know when that's announced.
I think it's next year. And I think it's end of next year. From what I remember vaguely from seeing something about it.
When is Doomsday then? 26?
I think, yeah. I mean, if it's just been announced, then they haven't really started filming because people would have seen them on set. So it's probably 2026. If they've announced a date at all.
26 and Secret Wars 27.
Right, okay.
So what, that would be Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four. We're back to 3.
In a year? There's nothing else this year. We've got Agatha as the only
Agatha.
left. Yeah. Okay. I think that should be their maximum. But who am I to say?
I think even that's gonna. Oh,
I think they're really gonna be on the line. Do they have to do it right?
I don't know if it's gonna be. It just feels like such whitewashing. However, in their defense, they had planned everything to be Kang.
I know. So don't beat your girlfriends.
And if they have to,
or anybody,
if that is the reason that they're like, we need a massive pivot, we need a new villain, and we need something, and we don't have time to develop them. We just need something that we know will get traction. I still think it's a mistake, but they need money to keep going.
And you aren't writing enough comics. I didn't realize there was going to be such a backlash. I thought it was just sort of like a surprise, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, amazing! Woo, can't wait! We're all excited again." Which I guess
I hate it. I hate it so much.
You hate
so
it.
Many.
What do listeners think?
Well, yeah, the kind of impression I get is kind of a 50-50. I mean, even in this podcast, we're kind of a 50-50 split.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad you said the stuff that you did, because I didn't realize, like, oh yeah, there's that as well. I see why it's a bit weird. We'll see what they do with his ethnicity, because I didn't realize that's kind of how integral it is to his character.
But but it makes sense. You know,
my only experience is the previous shitty white guys.
Yeah, and they were awful because there's no interest of like, oh, I'm a corporate guy. It's like, what the hell was that? I'm a graphic designer. Like, what the hell?
Who was that?
The world. The newer one. He was a graphic designer. He's a website designer. There seems to be a 50-50 split. Please let us know what you think. If you think this is a good thing or a bad thing, or how we can turn the bad thing into a good thing, or how the good thing could easily turn into a bad thing. Write in and let us know. incompletegeekspodcast@gmail.com. And if you're seeing this on social, TikTok, Instagram @incompletegeeks, tag us. I want to know. Make me feel better about this. And I'm make me feel better, guys, because we're like, yeah. And I'm sorry if we got anything wrong. We're not complete geeks, but we are working on it. Bye-bye.